What's going on, guys? Welcome to an updated Shaco guide. This is the OPGG at the moment. Looking pretty good, to be honest. I haven't had much time to play that recently. But on the whole, it's very easy, and we'll get into why I think some of these games are really easy, and how we're able to pop off on the Shack. As far as what we're looking like at the moment, I don't even know like what the ranking sites are, but yeah, we're probably like maybe top 10 for LP. In terms of KDA, I probably have the best world, and that's not me just talking shit, and that's also me playing on 140 ping. So in terms of Shaco Micro, I literally don't think there's anyone better, and that's not me tooting my own horn. But if someone else had these stats and was playing on 140 ping, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's kind of legit. And if I wasn't getting 18 LP and losing 23, I'm sure I'd probably already be like 1,000 LP. But that shit will happen, alright? Watch this space. Without further ado, let's get into what this video is about, which is runes, builds. I'm not sure if I will go into clears. It's probably enough for another video, that, because it is quite in-depth. But let's get into the runes that I'm running and the options that you guys can choose as well, because there are variations here, and a lot of it is personal feel and preference. If you are going AD Shaco, this is the only keystone you guys should take. I have seen people take Dark Harvest. I have seen people take First Strike. You guys don't want to win games. Hail of Blades is a must. Take this. It's also very important when you run Hail of Blades to backstab. If you get in 3 backstabs, the damage difference between getting in 1 or 2 is huge. Even 2 backstabs compared to 3 is big. So please focus on your backstabs. Again, that's a topic for another video, but just want to reinforce that point. Sudden Impact. You can go Cheap Shot, which really isn't that bad, especially if you're going to go Cyclo Sword. And I would actually like to test this out. This is... I used to run this, and I know some Shaco players do. Even if you don't go Cyclo Sword, remember, guys, your auto attacks will slow the enemy if your E is off cooldown. So if you can press E and you're hitting someone, they will be slowed naturally. It's a passive in your E that lots of people don't know about. This will actually work with that. And when you get Cyclo Sword, even if your auto attacks aren't slowing because your E is on cooldown, the Cyclo Sword will also help Cheap Shot here. So it's an interesting one, but I just think Sudden Impact is probably going to give you more. But it's an interesting one to test out. So either or here, I think. I probably think Sudden Impact might be a bit more consistent, but it's up to you guys. Here I just take 6 cents, because if you're going to be invading on Shaco early game, mid game, late game, you want to know if someone has warded near you, yes? Because when you queue in, you are queuing a lot of the time from fog. And in fog, what do people do? They ward. So you need to know before you queue if something is warded or not. I don't think there is any debate here, to be honest, in terms of these 3. This one here, there is debate. Ultimate Hunter is insane. I'm joking. Do not take this. Treasure Hunter or Relentless. I've experimented. So, if I go Treasure Hunter, I'm basically always taking Approach Velocity. The reason being is because you will feel, or I feel anyway, that I just don't gap close to champions as much as I could or did if I had that. And if I take Relentless, that's my page. If I go Treasure Hunter, that's my page. And for me, this is what I prefer. Yes, Cosmic is nice because you get more ignites and more smites early game. And if you're going for a chaotic early game, having more smites is useful because you can keep contesting the enemy jungler. Also ignite in the early game. Lots of the time I feel as if, if I don't have Ignite, I can't really kill anyone. But when I have Ignite, it's like, oh, 100% I'm going to kill this person. So that does feel nice. But for me at the moment, again, it's a lot of preference here, but this feels like the best setup. Other options here, I'm not really sure there are any. I know lots of Shacos like doing this. I think it's incredibly troll, and you can do it. Like, don't get me wrong. I shouldn't say incredibly troll, but it's kind of hoping that the game doesn't break and your lanes don't lose, right? These are scaling runes, and even if you don't scale in a game as Shaco, you're kind of... How do I explain this? Let's just say I have Cassid in mid. If I run these runes, you're going to lose. And this is like high elo base, right? So if you're not playing in like kind of big competitive elos and you know you're just playing against noobs, I'm not meaning to flame anyone, But if you're not playing against that great a player, you could run anything here, really. You could even take probably Nimbus Cloak with Storm. You could take Nimbus Cloak with Focus, right? Because when you ignite someone, you get movement speed. You could probably run something like this, yeah? This is also another setup that is legit, by the way. You can do this. So this is another one. There's so many, man. And this is also another one, but no. So if you take this, you are kind of probably... It's just going to put you in a mindset of just AFK farming and chill, which can work, don't get me wrong. Like, I used to run shit like this back in the day, but man, like, it's less useful. It is less useful than running something like this, where you have a bit more power early game. You save 300 gold, so you're actually accelerating your major item spikes early game, like Cyclo Sword. Getting that earlier, Hubris coming out next patch, right, being 200 gold cheaper. That will help there as well. This gets you going. This is a snowball page, which is what the champion is about. If you do not snowball in a game as Shaco, you guys have played him. I don't need to talk about it. So this is my favorite rune page at the moment. For minor runes, for shards, attack speed always, adaptive force always. And please take this. I actually screwed this up in my clear video, like at the start of the season, I think it was. And Coach Rose, shout out to him. Someone told me that he said, well, you know, if you run the base health, your pet does more damage. Didn't realize that. Coach, by the way, let's go. So please make sure you guys have base HP on. You do more damage to camps early game, yes? This doesn't feel half bad, don't get me wrong. But for clears in the early game, if you're looking to kill raptors with 3 boxes, you need this. And yeah, it just helps you, right? And that's what we're about, snowballing. So that's the AD page and the reasoning behind the rune choices. AP, did I change anything here? Well, we'll find out when we next game, when I go 0-10. AP, we've got Comet. There are 2 pages here, I think, but I prefer this. You've got Comet, Axiom Arcanist. This helps with your ultimate. So this is more scaling. So important to remember here that AP is more scaling. Yes? So if you're running something late game like this here, which we'll get into in a second, or maybe even now, and Transcendence as well, see how all of these are kind of, you know, waiting for the game to kind of happen, you know, 15, 20 minutes. Oh, and then we become AP Shaco. That's because AP Shaco scales well. You don't really become a champion until you get Blackfire Torch and then Leandry's, right? And then you really start getting into it. So this is why these runes accommodate AP Shaco. Yes? Because of the identity of the champion. AD Shaco is not like that. So, Axiom Arcanist, Transcendence. Anything else here is kind of just meh, like Transcendence ability haste on AP Shaco is so important. And then I run Scorch. The reason I do this is because you don't want to be a Kassadin early game in jungle. I know I've mentioned Kassadin a couple of times here. It's like I've got PTSD or something. But it is true. In certain games, you're going to feel less useful because you just literally don't do anything, right? If someone doesn't run into a box, you're useless. But if you have Scorch, hitting someone with an E and then your Ignite, it's going to give you more kills, trust me. The damage you do in the first 5-10 minutes of a game with this, it will be legit. It helps with Scuttle Crab fights, ganking lanes, and I feel on AP Shaco, even more than AD, maybe it's because of the ping, if I get going early game, if I get 1 kill on my first clear, whatever the first clear is, it might be a level 3 gank, it might be a full clear, if I get 1 kill before my first base, I know I've won the game. Because you scale so well. This helps with that. Gathering Storm is a luxury that you don't need. Hence the word luxury, right? You do not need to run this shit. It literally doesn't do anything. If you get to 20 minutes, you're good anyway. You don't need any more damage here, yes? But you want to get to 20 minutes on this thing. We have scaling here. We have scaling technically here. We have scaling over here as well. So if we get that, we stack that quicker. We can get to the mid to late game quicker as well, because hopefully we'll be getting more kills, our items come around quicker. That's more important than just waiting for Gathering Storm to kick in. Kind of the same argument for the AD build. So if you're running Comet, I think this is a must as your secondary tree, the precision with the haste. I don't think I have to go into too much detail here. Out of these runes here, of course it's going to be haste, and cut down here, yes. You can run Coup de Grace, but your boxes are the key. So deal 8% more damage to champions who have more than 60% health. The number of times full HP champions are going to be running into your boxes, especially later in the game around Baron, Dragons, Elders, etc., etc. This is the power. So cut down and haste. I think these are necessitated when you play the AP Shac. Minor rune shards, cooldown, always. Adaptive Force always. And I take this. You can take Scaling, but again, this same argument. This helps with your clear in the early game. And you don't... The HP, yes, is, again, like I said, for AD, it feels nice as you scale into a game, but you don't need it. In the early game, you want to be solid. You want to get to your first base. You want to get to Blackfire Torch. You want to get going, and this will just help you in those early game fights where you have a bit more strength. Because AP Shaco isn't that great early game, so this just, kind of locks you in place. Gives you a nice foundation to work from. So those are the runes. The other rune, page is you can run something like this. I guess here you can switch it up because AP Shaco might not be invading that much, but even just for like queuing around the map, this is still useful. But again, like this here is not going to change the game really at all. So take whatever you want here for AP Shaco. Let's just do this. And then here is kind of interesting. You could take Treasure Hunter, which is kind of greedy, but you can take it. You can take Ultimate Hunter as well. That's the other option here. And for your secondary tree, it's probably... I mean, like, you can take this. There are options here. You can even take something like Transcendence Gathering Storm. You can maybe even go for something like this. But to be honest, if I were playing, I would probably take Transcendence and Storm because you're still getting a little bit of early game here from Dark Harvest and Cheap Shot. It's really not the worst in the world. So I'd probably run something like this, and your other option is still like this, But for me, again, if you guys play AP Shac, I think you will feel a difference when you run this rune page right here. I think this is the nuts. So those are the runes that I've been running recently. And, yeah, these definitely help me, kind of pop off in most, not every game, but yeah, definitely most games, right? As far as items go, let's get into items here. Because lots of people have asked me, I remember when I was like streaming, right? And I go like 20, I can't remember if it was like one game on stream where I dropped like 20 something kills. But all these games, right, are pretty high kills. I remember one game, like this here, right? And these, like, I don't think people get, like, when you play Shac, you are meant to snowball in a game, yeah? So when I average like, 10 kills or 8.5 kills, whatever it is, yeah? The big reason is because I'm snowballing. And everything kind of revolves around that. Like my brain, right? In terms of like the runes, the items, everything is about going from 1 to 100 as quick as possible. And this build allows you to do that. And when you build these items, you will feel a difference. If you don't, you're not backstabbing, you just aren't getting the most out of the champion. You're not using Alpha Halo Blades, there'll be mechanical issues, and probably that's why you guys might even like going Profane Hydra and shit like that doesn't do anything. So toxic these days, man. But yeah, it is it's just a fact, man. Okay, so in terms of builds, every game I will go this first. The reason is, even if you're not snowballing, like let's just say I'm 0-2-4, doesn't sound great, right? This item still allows you to kill people, especially when you have your ultimate with Halo Blades. Because your ultimate is going to proc this. Your clone will proc the slow on Cyclo Sword. And what else do we have in our runes? We have Approach Velocity. This helps the Shac, after you come out of your queue and you backstab someone with Cyclo Sword, you can stay attached to them much longer than you would if you didn't run Approach Velocity. Yes, if you didn't have Cyclo Sword, obviously. If you just ran Umbral, still fine to like rush Umbral. I still think it's an okay item. But in comparison to this, if you guys use your clone properly, you will know why I've said to buy this first. The second item, I literally get every single game as Swifties, which it sounds kind of questionable here because I have the free boots, right? So I have the free boots in my runes. We have magical footwear. So why would I then just buy Swifties if I can just sit on the magical footwear boots? Because again, if you guys play, remember I'm running Treasure Hunter, but even if I was running Relentless Hunter, you don't really need much damage after this. And keep in mind, please, that we're getting Voltaic Cyclo Sword. Like, I've had this item at around 7-8 minutes in a lot of games, which is an early item. But that's because you're playing AD Shaco early game. If the game is volatile, if lanes are going crazy, man, there is nothing like it, bro. You should have like 4 or 5 kills in like 4 or 5 minutes, and you should be going nuts. With this, the oppression. You are everywhere. You are there for every gank. It helps with your Q stealth. It helps you get, cover long distances while you're in stealth so you can backstab champions. It gets you in position, to kind of queue over dragon pits and get in the enemy jungle without being seen. That's kind of a weird example. But, again, if you guys run this, you will know why I have recommended this, okay? Second item. These are literally every single game. Now, this is where it changes. If I am fed, and you guys are going to think I'm trolling by doing Collector, build it. You have no idea the number of kills you will get from your clone's explosion, from your clone's boxes when they proc, from Ignite, from your E getting them low. Yeah? You get so many kills because of the execute on this, and you have so much kind of like tick damage in Shaq. It's so easy, bro. And because the champion kills give you 25 gold, you snowball to IE so quick. And this is normally my next item. If the enemy team has armor, and I mean armor coming out of their arseholes, then you can mix it up. And you can go LDR, yeah? So it would be something like this, right? Something like that. LDR, and then you just try to get to, or last whistle, sorry. Then you try to get to LDR ASAP. After this, so when you have 3 crit items, okay? So, what you have this, right? And then let's just say we have Infinity Edge, because for me, that is most games. Remember, if they have armor, and I'm not talking about the top Sile, no one cares about him. Their mid Lissandra is building Zhonya's. Their Rise has Roa, and he's getting Zhonya's. The AD carry is an Ezreal with steel caps. And remember, Ezreal's Triforce, they get HP, right? So this becomes more useful. Yes? Because of the passive, the Giant Slave passive that they put back into it. So even against HP, it's valuable. So you might be building this more often than you think, or you should be buying it more often than you might think. But let's just say these are our first 4 items. After that, it completely depends, right? We can go Serpent's Fang. If they have shields. Very good. We can go Edge of Night. If we're scared the enemy team, who's got a LeBlanc, who has a Seraphine, who has a Zyra, who has a Evelyn, an Echo in the jungle. Yeah. We're scared if we go in and backstab someone later in a game, that if we get hit once by that Lux Binding, or whatever it is, we're going to die. Please get this. Again, this is in no particular order. It could be Edge of Night first, and then you get Serpent's Fang last, because they have Lee Sin. They have Yone mid. They have a... Give me some champions. Come on, come on, come on. Kai'Sa bot lane. And whatever else they might have. Locket support. Yes? Serpent's Fang is very useful these days. So many shields in the game. Of course, you can get Lord Dominic's Regards. So your first 5 items could be these, with LDR here. 60% crit. And another reason why that build is so nice, by the way, is because you one-shot camps. You do camps, bro, in like 3 autos. So people think like when you go Hydra and shit, your CS should be really good. 6.5 on a champ that, you know, early to mid game doesn't clear camps as well as others is good, you know? And in games where I have to farm, there's 7.8, and look at the build. 7.8, and we've got that build. 7.5 here, same build. We've got Serpent's Fang here, right? But we've also got LDR. So, Triforce, Black Cleaver, Steel Caps probably. Okay. Feel like we're getting somewhere, you know? I can feel you guys learning with me. Let's get it. I'm trying to think of other items here. Just give me 1 second. You guys are probably screaming at the screen. Ghostblade, I never really buy this because, again, like, you don't need it when you've got Swifties. And Blue Smite as well, by the way. So I always go Blue Smite, not Red Smite. So whoever Blue Smite is, yes, please get this. Because the movement speed from brushes, again, most of the time you're queuing from brushes. Hubris might be another one to consider. Next patch, by the way. I've never built that, but yeah. And GA is also a good one too. You can go more of Malmortius, but I'd much rather have just Edge of Night. Because more of Malmortius means they have magic damage, which means they probably have lots of skill shots. Even stuff like Rumble is really nice for Edge of Night. More of Malmortius, you're probably still going to die. But Edge of Night gives you a bit more power. Gives you that lethality that you probably need. And lethality, remember, we have it in that. We have it in Cyclo, or Collector, sorry. Well, yeah, Cyclo and Collector. And getting a bit more definitely doesn't hurt. So those are the items if you are snowballing. This is the snowball AD build. If you are not snowballing, this is what I have been doing. This is recently, by the way. I'll go Umbral Glaive. This is because it is cheaper than getting Collector, and it is cheaper than going Collector Infinity Edge LDR. After this, I kind of... again, it really depends on what the enemy team has, but if you're not fed, it's going to take you a while to get to Collector IE especially, yes? So if you're not fed and you can't get kills to capitalize on Collector's gold, it's going to take you a bit of time to scale. By having Umbral Glaive, you're still dealing really, really good damage, and you're also being a bit more of utility to your team, right? So if you're not super fed, this here is a lot nicer to build than Collector, and also the components are nicer, right? Because they build out a longsword, it's very easy to buy. And the moat. And then after that, same thing. If you get fed, get a Collector in there, get an Infinity Edge, get LDR, exactly the same as before. If you're not fed, you might just want to opt for something like this, right? Let's just say they have a Kai'Sa, they have a Lulu, they have a Yone, they have a Lee Sin, they have a Vi. Anything with a shield, right? If the enemy team has that, you can literally just run something like this and still be very, very effective. But remember, these items are determined by the enemy champions and how fed you are, not what's, the most OP build on UGG, or, build this, build these items every game, they're so broken. It doesn't work like that. It's about comparing or looking at the game you're in and actually thinking about it and questioning it. So those are the AD builds. Bastion Breaker, if they bring this down to 3,000 gold, it might be legit. But you're spending some of the gold on the passive. It looks really nice, right? But 3,200 gold, I'd much rather buy Collector and Snowball. Or put 3,200 gold towards Infinity Edge, or LDR. So I think this is kind of overkill. And Ghostblade Opportunity, I just think these two have been relegated. Unless they get, like, maybe Ability Haste back in them, or Ghostblade goes back to 60 attack damage, because I think they nerfed it. I can't remember what they've done. Forgive me. But yeah. But those are the AD builds. As far as AP goes, we start with Red Smite. Why? Because we are dealing damage. We don't really need the movement speed from Blue Smite, even though you can do it. It's nice to get in position to box, with your Q. Q around the map, put a box down, beautiful, right? But your red buff here, off boxes, it does so much damage. So it's Red Smite for me. Sorry, not red buff. But yeah, Red Smite for me. And after this, we always want to go Faded Ashes as your first base. You can, of course, if you have 1250 gold, get a Dark Seal as well. I will do this every game if I have this base. And normally, by the way, like when you have 1200 or 1250 gold, you will have a kill as well. So you should be able to snowball and stack this, yes? Then we want Blackfire Torch. Yes, so this goes into Blackfire Torch. Beautiful. As far as boots goes, you can get these early in a game if you want. Sometimes you might want to get them after Faded Ashes, but it's either Lucids or I get Sork Shoes if I am snowballing. Again, you can see how it's kind of similar. There's a bit of resonance here, right? With the AP build and the AD build. If I'm fed, we go the big damage. We go Collector. We go Infinity Edge. If I'm not fed, I'm going Lucid Boots because it gives me more utility. It gives me more ability haste. So I'm going to be using my boxes more, using my Eagz more, my ultimates more. It's going to be more useful for my team. But if I'm super fed, I can just win the game on my own. So I'll get Sorks. Those are your two options, okay? Always the same here. You can maybe opt to go something like Shadow Flame or Horizon Focus if it's good in the game, if they have stuff like Rengar, Kai'Sa, Kha'Zix, shit like that, who are quite popular at the moment. You can go something like Horizon, but I think Liandry's every game and you guys will be sweet. So, it will look like this, yeah? You'll build at the start, or you have Sork Shoes. So remember, if you are fed, you have Sorks in there as well, yes? Instead of Lucids. After this, it completely depends what the enemy team has. If you are super fed, get a Shadow Flame. If you are not, build a Crypto Bloom. The reason why Crypto Bloom is easier is because it is cheaper, but also the components are nicer. Look at those components to buy. Easy, right? Compared to that. Large Rod, kind of difficult if you're not fed. So if you're snowballing, Shadow Flame is insane. For me, the funny thing here is that if I have Sork Shoes, you don't get haste. You've only got haste from this. So if you go Shadow Flame, you're not going to be putting that many boxes around, and this is when you will be playing, like, 4 items. That's when you're going to be playing around dragons and barons, right, a lot of the time, and in jungles. So, even if you could get a Shadow Flame, it might just be better if you have Sorks to go this. So it really depends though, right? But if you can get a quick Shadow Flame because you are just super fed and you're 1v9ing, there's nothing wrong with it. But just be a little bit careful about that, okay? Because it is expensive. Obviously, your other options. You've got Zhonya's against big attack damage teams. Don't buy this against stuff like Caitlyn and shit like that, who can just hit you when you come out of the stasis. You've got Banshees. You can go Deathcat, but I think Deathcat's kind of overkill because you really want this on like huge damage. You know, you're going to one-shot someone, but you're really not on Shaco. You kind of want tick damage and a bit more, you know. It's hard to explain, but something like Shadow Flame, right? You're probably going to do more damage with this than you would Deathcap. You guys will know what I mean when you build Deathcap. I built it in one of my recent games, and I was like, oh, this is kind of shit. And it's also expensive, you know. But yeah, back to the builds. So you can go, yeah, those items, right? Obviously, if they have skill shots, this is kind of like Edge of Night, but for AP. And this is obviously, yeah, just really, really good if they have a hard engaged team, especially close range. They've got Viego, they've got Samira, they've got Lucian, Kaiser, Felix, like all these short range, right? Who's going to be in your face, and you jump in with your clone, you press R, and then you Zhonya's and GG, you just kill everyone. This is a very underrated item on AP Shaco. The ability haste feels really nice, and you also empower your teammates. And if you are fed and you have like the big damage, let's just say I have something like this, right? Let's just say this is my build. And we've got this. That there is GG. Oh my goodness. Put me in a game, bro, with those items. Because after these 4, you only have haste from this. And this one almost has to be an ability haste item. So Mandate's really good. It's cheap, it's quick, boom, you already have all the damage in the world. Horizon Focus is also really nice. Probably works in every game. Honestly, really not too bad. Even though it's nice to reveal people who go stealth, like Kha'Zix, Rengar, who we talked about before. Even Wukong is nice against right champions like that. Pyke as well. There's lots of champions, you get what I'm saying? But yeah, you want to be going an ability haste item after 4 huge damage, or like 3 big damage items, and this thing, of course. This thing isn't like the best item in the world because it just gives you mana. And, you know, 600... Wish you didn't have to build this. I wish like old Rocket Belt, Proto Belt came back, but it is what it is. So that's just where we're at with AP Shaco. But I'm not sure if there's too much else, guys. There are other options. Maybe you can go something like Void Staff, but honestly, I don't really think there's many other options for the AP Shac. Just looking at these here, they all look kind of mid. Cosmic Drive isn't too bad. Don't get me wrong. This isn't too bad, but I think the other items give you a bit more value, you know? I think this needs a buff or something. Again, when you guys build these items and the items, you know, I'm giving you, yeah, you test these out, you'll come back to the video and just thank me. Trust me. but yeah, hopefully this video was good, guys. I'm losing my voice as well. That's when you know it's over. Thank you for watching. If you want me to do some sort of like clears video, if you want me to do a mechanical video, obviously, I'm more than happy to do those if people are asking for it, because it's super important. You've heard me mention about, you know, like R-ing for Halo Blades. When do you do that? Backstabbing properly. There's so many mechanics, right? And even though I'm on kind of like, yeah, substantial ping, we can still play this champ at light peak. So I'm more than happy to do that if there's requests for it. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know this was very raw. Sorry about that, but hopefully it was just nice to chill and listen to. If you want coaching, there will be links down below. The new Dombishi project will be linked down below as well. Daily quizzes, all that stuff. And we will have big champion courses coming out soon that will have quizzing in them. And Shaco will be one of them. Literally just voiced it the other day. It's 100 pages long. And if you guys get through that, well, to be honest, you'll be better than me. I'm trash. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day now, wherever you are. Don't be sugar, bye.